What's going on, YouTube? Time for another recap here. We'll start off on X like we usually like to do here. So last night, I was feeling a little thing on the Qs here. I did post this about 17 hours ago. But a lot of divergence on the 30-minute. We're getting lower highs on the RSI, on the MAC, and we're obviously getting higher highs. So something's brewing for a pullback coming up, okay? And then the call was made for me. I talked right here again this morning. I said right now the 5-minute on the VIX, it's getting a little bit of a pause, right? So when the VIX starts in a little bit of a gap up like this and then slowly sells back down, it pauses the sell-off, right? So this is the open on the 5-minute. It's at +1 standard deviation, and then it caused a gap right here. So a lot of the time it has to trickle all the way back down to support, and then we had a huge over-under at 14.19 that would dictate which way the market was going to go, right? So with that being said, there's only one thing to look for, is to go short in the pre-market as the VIX was going to find support, and then it was going to find direction from the 14.19 is what we said, right? So these are all the predictions here. We're going to go back. And then the last one, I predicted the short here, okay? So on SPY, this was my choice of the short on the $3,000 green today. As long as it stayed under some fair value gaps, I was shorting under this POC, giant arrow telling you where the short is, and the giant box for me telling you where the target is. So just under 491, we had all the way down. It's 491 is right here. So a little bit under 491. I had 490, like 86 down here on the box, so on and so forth. But this box right here was the volume profile of the target. So this was the short at the early morning. And then we needed to see VIX over under $14.19, which he had mentioned multiple times. So here's the first short. It's a really nice gap area. Came down from a beautiful short. Let's move back up to the current. There we get those. There we go. And another long that was played. So again, posted here on X. A lot of the times you'll come outside of volume area lows. So when that price action is way down here, you long it into a reputable support. This I was longing into VWAP -2 deviation. Okay, so good support on the scalp there. Now predictions came through, so let's jump into the SPY. So we had about a $3,000 green. Let's just get into her. So hopping right into the SPY. Prediction was short out of the gate down to 490 60s or so, 490 80, somewhere around there. Well, look at the low of day, 490 30s 40s. We were within 3 points on ES of the exact bottom. Then she got bought back up. This was my target short. So the target short prediction here, all it did was cause a higher low from the prior day. So again, not really that big of a deal from this low into a higher low, and that's where well, a lot of deciding factors that I keep here for my private members is how I predicted this exact bottom, which we got pretty decent on this one. So and again, now we had a big reversal because we said VIX needs to decide at $14.19, right? There's a gold level. You can see the huge reactions to the VIX at this level, where you can see it find a little sport and shake and then find that rejection and then big squeeze at the 14.19, and it's just not quite ready yet, right? Which is perfectly fine. Doesn't matter to us. So we're looking at the consolidation of the last 5-day 5 minutes, and the VIX sells has not made it down to this -2 area. It's made it up to the +2 about 4 or 5 times here. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 times even this morning. And we were getting bought up on massive support. Now, again, if the VIX is not trending above a 15, 16 point like I do, all dips are bought, okay? We're in an election year. Anything, if the VIX is not trending, we were looking for the maintenance above 14.19. No big deal that it didn't come. We still had a $3,000 beautiful green day trade. Now, with that being said, what else did we get into on the Qs? Now, the Qs also had a really nice abrupt sell. Obviously, the markets generally follow themselves, but we needed a back test of a moving average that we had not seen for a little bit here as well. So let's get into that, because moving average back tests are one of our third biggest strategies used at Boiler Room Trading here. So this purple dash line here, this is a 5-minute chart on Qs. This is the 666 simple moving average. Now the 666 is a good back test area for a lot of things, and algos love it as well. But 2 days ago prior in the trade, we had a breakout over, right, the 666 line. And then it never came back down and tested, right? So when we're looking for pullback days, not today, but the day prior, did it hit the 666? Nope, shied it. So it left a gap, reasonably to speak, on the 666 to price action. So we moved back in to today, and we found the bounce point for the Qs. It finally came back and back tested after multiple trade days staying above the 666. Now let's take a look at our oscillation indicators on when this happened. Right here at 9:30, 10:30 is euro close, right? And we look for algo swaps a lot of the times to continue a trend or break it and turn back around. And this time we had a perfect MAC cross, right? So it was already giving you signals on the 5-minute chart in between 9:30 and 10 a.m. Okay. Central time, of course. And when this happened, that was your outlook to start looking long once this crosses, because once the MAC crosses, we're going to come back down to the 0 line of the MAC for the scalp. Same with the RSI. I like to see it come all the way back to the 50. So a long bias trade from here we had caught, and I told my group to long SPY here, right? Because we obviously SPY at the bottom. We ended up picking the absolute bottom of SPY. So both worked, Qs and SPY. And to end the day here, we're most likely just going to chop pop around and just have another burn day. Now, where's the market going to project? Well, we have projections here that this is getting a little toppy up here, and we're still going to stay engulfed. So whenever we don't have any price action above us, we don't have any historical supports to work off of, we are literally at all-time highs. I start using the last prior couple days volume areas as price levels, right? So another way to look at this is if you come into the SPY, and I would use the volume areas and POCs from the day prior. So or multiple days prior. So this is the all-time high. This is the last trade day. This is today. And then moving backwards, looking back in time, I have a few days here that were prior all-time highs. Then we had the nice dump, right? But these areas of volume traded are going to be extremely important for the next day. So POCs and volume area highs, because we're in that uptrend, right? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to start marking off these POCs and volume areas on the engulfing and the burn day, okay? So we got a volume area high, POC, and each one is right within these two candles. So volume area high, POC, volume area high. And so these three price levels were going to be pivot points for potential support and short targets coming into today. So let's look at it intraday. So we charted those off on the daily chart. And lo and behold, we'll drop to the 5-minute and look to the penny, the confirmations we get here. To the penny, 490.28, bottom of the market, prior volume area, okay, breaks out to the penny trade here. I'm sorry, we'll do the breakdown first. Let's start over. First bounce, second bounce, we have to the penny, okay, breaks back up, has a perfect confirmation, snaps up, comes back down, confirms strength, right back up. So volume area high, POC, volume area high, all worked stupendously, right? And that's all I'm using because I don't have really much else to backtest. Now that's how I got that targetable, little area for 490 and calling the absolute bottom, but I stack catalyst while considering those bounces. So what are the catalysts we went through? I used prior volume areas, highs and POCs. I used the 666 5-minute, and I used the VWAP at a -2 deviation along with, right, our oscillation indicators. Oscillation indicators, they move obviously much faster on the 1 minute, so we can take a peek at this, because we watch 1, 5, and 15 throughout the day. And you can see right here, I called this one out in chat too, we're getting a higher low on the 1 minute on our oscillation indicators, but you're seeing lower lows in price action. So we call that divergence, right? So when we're having divergence in price action, it's about ready to start turning back around. Well, the higher lows on the RSI and the MAC told you that was potentially coming. And where was that? Well, the bottom, which we picked. So stacking the MACD, RSI, VWAP, volume areas, and premium daily levels, we had an opportunity to find a bottom in the market, stacking those catalysts. So another $3,000 green day in the books. And thanks for tuning in for the recap. Check on the next.